Right, we're trying to get into Bubba, but without breaking it. So what we're going to do is the first job is to take the barrels off, which is not as easy as I'd like, but it does hold it together. So it's just a case of sliding the pipe off, square pipe, and we need to turn that around with this bit of wood out of the way. And then this one is actually screwed on, so we've got a flat screwdriver just to the side, screwed into the trigger guard. It all holds itself in place. Keep the screws together, there we go, and that should just slide off as well. He says. That wasn't nerve-wracking at all. And there we have the main part of Bubba. Now we have to turn it round, because this is the side that comes off to get to the lights, which the battery pack broke, so we're going to try and get Disco Bubba working again. See how it goes. It may not, may or may not. Just take the trigger mechanism off. There we go. Right. This was a lockdown project, just keep me busy. Although, to be quite honest, I worked through lockdown, so it took a little bit longer than I thought. I used longer screws than I thought. Make sure I get the screws on the other side. There we go, and this piece should then come off. There we go, along with that piece that just stops you being able to look down the barrel. Let's flip this over again. All this was made from stuff hanging around the shed. The lights we're replacing were designed were bought for my daughter's bed, so she's not best chuffed that I still haven't replaced them and she hasn't got disco lights on the bed still. Which apparently is what every 12-year-old needs. There we go, that goes in there. Bubba's one of the most iconic guns about there, to be quite honest, in sci-fi. It's pretty much a character all of its own in dark matter. There we go, that bit can go there. Right, let's get the main body off now. There we go. The combination of Bubba and 3 is absolutely amazing in the program.
It's Bubba time. Who's Bubba? This is Bubba. What, you don't name your guns? No. Oh, well, This is Bubba. This is Lulu. Other one's Pip. What do you name the knife you keep in your boot? I don't name the knife in my boot. I think I am psycho.
Now, while you're looking at this, the body of the gun is just made out of plywood, 12mm, 4 sheets stuck together. It just seemed like the right thickness, and it was also the plywood I had hanging around the shed. And the idea was that if I just took the one panel off, I should be able to get to everything. I suppose we're going to test that now. And there is the inside. Now, that is the bit that was attached to the battery, and I'm hoping, against hope, that after I replace it with this battery pack of another one, it will A, reach, and B, work. There we go. Right, while we're here, I may as well take that up for a start. Explain a couple of things. Obviously, I've said the plywood for the main body got a bit of round pipe, which was pretty much just lengths of that cut for the barrels. Pinched some foam off my daughter's crafting set for the end. The actual frame here is made out of the same stuff as the windows in my shed. I just had some off-cut bits. And yeah, I've got a couple of angle brackets holding on to keep them flexible, because what I didn't want it to be too stiff, because I just thought if it was too inflexible it was going to not withstand being taken to cons, or sort of if my daughter's cosplaying 5, I wanted to be able to sort of wave it about, although she does struggle to lift it at the moment. But I can't make it lighter, therefore she'll just have to get stronger. There we go. Now the idea is that goes in there. And then we can just put that back on top. This part of the trigger, that is out of a boiler. Now I really can't tell you what sort of boiler it's from or what the part is, but it was hanging around the shed, so that's what got used, because it looked like a trigger. I must admit I kept it because it looked like a trigger. I just thought it was quite cool. Right, let's just double check that still works. He says, and it doesn't. Right, okay, it appears that this is the part that actually receives the signal from the remote. So this isn't a bad thing. We can still access this quite easily. So the idea was that there'd be something flashing as we're walking around a con, or sort of from the car to the con. So as long as we can access that, it's a bit of a compromise, but we'll go with it. So until I think of something else. So what we're going to do now is going to put Bubba back together. So that just fits back on there. And if you talk amongst yourselves, I'll get this screwed up. Right, that's the main body back together again. Next, we're going to put the barrels back on. Now, what these barrels, what they've done is they've actually cut a slit in there, and the two outer bits of ply, they've got slits down them so it kind of sandwiches itself in. It's a bit nervy because they only just fit over the actual plastic frames, so it sounds and feels horrible when you're doing it, but we shall do our best not to break anything. Then we need to put the trigger guard in, which fits into there. Now all of these parts are actually made out of just some downpipe, cut to strips, glued together. Some bits I've melted and bent using a candle. But everything plastic is actually literally just made out of a length of that. So this should slide all the way over. There we go. And then the screws. Should be just a couple of little ones. The strength in this gun is all about these bits of plastic here. They kind of hold it all together. So it's only when both are on that you actually feel like you can wave it about and got a bit of strength in it. Try and get that in there. I suppose what I should do is just keep that disco light going just to make sure it's still working. Squeeze that to make sure it's not splitting it. There we go. I think more than anything, it was just a thing to keep me sane, really, to be quite honest. It's been a bit of a mad year. Right, let's turn that over, because the most nervy part is the longer top, which actually fits even tighter than the bottom one. There we go. That's just horrible. There we go. Now the idea is that you can turn it on and off by sliding it this far. Just make sure they're still working. Yes, they are, because that last bit is a lot easier to slide back. And there we go, I can relax now, because that's actually a lot more secure now. So a couple of screws in here and we're nearly there. I think the most interesting part of this was taking something that is essentially just a square plastic pipe, and kind of inventing ways to make it look different, either bending it, gluing strips of it together to make thicker pieces, and just the challenge of finding stuff around the shed that you can make look like it belongs on the gun. So I know one of my biggest problems was with the hinge on the stand, which this part here, I'll show you in a minute, was I had quite a few attempts at making something for that. That's it was one of those things that was really worth it in the end, but took a couple of weeks to work out how to do it. That goes in there. That bit goes in there. Yeah, this part here was just a nightmare. It was one of those things where I couldn't quite work out how to make the hinge work. And inside there's a little plastic tube which I eventually found inside one of those, just a retractable pencil, and yeah, it just worked out well. Just a little black plastic part in there, and use that for the hinge. And the idea was that stays up because it's quite tight, but I've got magnets in that little bit there which actually hold it together. Just tighten this up a little bit. Tighten that up. I do need to work on a better hinge because it does need tightening up quite a bit on a regular basis. And there you go, Bubba back together, and hopefully if I slide open the barrel, turn her on, Disco Bubba is back. Working trigger is still there. So thanks for your patience. First video I've made, and although this I think looks quite good, just to show you, this was first Bubba. That was supposed to be the idea was I'd just paint Bubba on it, but I thought I could do better than that. So this was second Bubba, but that didn't quite work because, to be quite honest, it didn't look very good. This is third Bubba, but I couldn't work out how to get the batteries there and for it to look good, so we started again, and we ended up with the finished project. It was a lot of fun to make. I recommend anybody, whether it works or it doesn't work, just to have a crack at something like this, because I've really enjoyed myself. We have the light on there, which is just literally a little power pack for Bubba. All this was made out of the same plastic as that, and just moulded and cut, and that just clicks on there. Thank you very much.